How do you stop being so scared at failing at this thing called health and fat loss again? And the reason I say again is because most people that I know of, including myself, have had several failed attempts at this thing called fat loss. And each time you have a failed attempt, it sort of makes you believe that you are not capable of doing this. You have those thoughts, those voices are telling you, but you failed in the past, so what's going to be different this time around? And you start believing them and you start thinking that you are not capable. So each time you do build up the courage to start your health and fat loss expedition, there is going to be a certain fear of failure lingering around in your mind or through your thoughts, because it has happened in the past. So how do you stop this? How do you stop having that fear of failure? Or how do you work on having fear of failure immunity? Or even just failure immunity? On that note, welcome to this episode of the Mandy Meyer podcast. As per usual, this is the podcast where we chat all about your health and fat loss expedition and all about how you can achieve your goals that you have set out for yourself. If you have ever felt terrified to start again, because what if I mess it up again? This episode is for you. Before we get into this episode, my book 40 kgs Lighter is available online. I'll share a link in the description of this video and of the audio episode of this podcast as to where you can purchase this book online. Of course, you can purchase it in certain and only selected stores, bookstores that is, but you would need to phone before you go to check if they actually have a copy of the book there. I have a couple of questions to start this episode off. Like, why are we, me and you included, so scared of failure? Is it that we are actually just scared of failing, or is the fear of failure not about failure at all? Is it about what we think it means, such as if I fail, it means I am not capable? Or if I fail, it means that I am not disciplined or I have no willpower? And is it potentially that you don't fear failure, but you fear what you have attached to failure meaning? Maybe you've made it personal, such as, like I've said, you believe that failure means that you are not capable, or failure means that you are not disciplined. So when you make it personal, if you do stumble and you do fail, for the lack of better words, you then think it's the end. But what if I told you you can out-train yourself of thinking that way, of thinking that failure is the end and that you have to quit and give up when you believe that you have failed? And the reason I say when you believe that you have failed is because at the first hurdle or slip up or speed bump, when something doesn't go according to plan, you tell yourself that you have failed. And now, all of a sudden, because you have made it personal, you believe that you are not capable. But Sally, I'm going to tell you something. You think you have failed when you eat a block of chocolate that wasn't part of the plan. Or you think you have failed when you can't get to a workout because your boss kept you late at work. So then you just stop doing. But those things aren't failures. Those things are little speed bumps, little hurdles that should never stand in the way of you executing the next habit or the next move or proceeding as per normal. Now, remember at the beginning of this episode, I used the word fear of failure immunity, or even better, failure immunity. You know, when you watch that TV show Survivor, one of the contestants get immunity. They can't get voted out for that episode. I want you to give yourself that immunity necklace when it comes to failure so that you can stop tapping out every single time something doesn't go according to plan. You see, failure immunity, this thing that I've just made up, is not about avoiding failure. And it's not about being perfect. It's also not about removing mistakes or removing the struggles or removing the speed bumps. That's not what it's about. Failure immunity is about building resilience and building resistance and creating consistency even when there are struggles. Now, how do you become immune to something in general? Like, you expose yourself to it for a long period of time, I think. I mean, I don't know. I'm no expert. The point I'm trying to make is you become immune to failing by exposing yourself to small, controlled, micro, little failures on a daily basis, by accepting these failures as part of the plan, by learning from these failures, by implementing strategies to navigate these failures in the future. And I use the word failures lightly. I don't like seeing them as failures. Micro failures maybe, but speed bumps, hurdles, struggles, whatever else you want to call it. The tiny slip-ups that you are going to start recovering from instead of letting them throw you off track. Those are the things that you want to accept, that you want to expose yourself to, and that you don't want to react emotionally to. Because the more you expose yourself to these micro little failures, these little slip-ups, you know, the things that don't go according to plan, the better you become at navigating them and proceeding as per normal as soon as they do happen. And exposing yourself to this also helps that shift in mindset to realize that not everything is going to be perfect. And not every day are you going to execute the plan in the way that you intended to. And like I said, so many people will give up as soon as they hit the first speed bump or the first hurdle. Maybe as soon as you have that one piece of chocolate that you told yourself you're not allowed to have, you just stop doing absolutely everything because you believe that you have failed. Now, what if you can control those failures? And what I mean by that is maybe you overconsumed calories for one day. You might see that as a failure and just quit. But what if I said to you, you can still hit your step targets for that day. You can still hit your water targets for that day. And if you want, you can still go to the gym for that day. In your mind, something catastrophic has taken place because you overconsumed calories. But what if you try to control that failure, for the lack of better words, by executing all the other healthier habits that you are creating? So instead of giving up when something doesn't go according to plan, you control the situation and your next action, your next move, your next behavior. Just imagine that scenario. Imagine how much consistency you can create if you stop giving up every single time you think you have failed. But at the end of the day, it's the same with anything. You can't just think about these things. You need to practice it. You need to practice proceeding as per normal. You need to practice that mindset of, okay, it's a micro failure, but what else can I do today that aligns with my health and fat loss goals? Because the moment you proceed as per normal, the moment you don't throw everything away, you start proving to yourself, like actually proving to yourself that you are capable. That's where you start believing in yourself, because guess what? You are executing. You are giving yourself a very strong reason to believe that you are 100% capable. And the moment you start doing that, your fear of failure starts subsiding. Because why? Because you are actioning. You are not giving up at the first speed bump or the first hurdle. If we look at a practical framework for building up this failure immunity, what are the three basic things that I want you to work on? Number one, when you start your health and fat loss expedition, expect failures, micro failures, expect speed bumps, hurdles, roadblocks, whatever, expect it. Don't expect it to be easy. Don't expect everything to go according to plan. Your expectations are fundamental. And I don't mean this in a negative way, like expect everything to go wrong. No, I mean it in a being realistic kind of way. You have to be realistic. Number two, decide on your minimums. And what I mean by that is your minimum entry-level targets for the day, something like 6,000 steps per day, 1 liter of water, 1 nutrient-dense meal, or 1 meal with protein. Those are your bare minimum non-negotiables for the day. Decide on those, because when the pawpaw hits the fan, you are still going to be working on something which are these minimum targets, and that is going to help you tick the boxes for the day, again, where you start proving to yourself that you are capable. And number 3 is shorten your recovery window. And what I mean by that is, if something doesn't go according to plan and you believe that you have failed, even though I call it a micro failure or a speed bump, do not recover for 3 weeks or 6 months. You have to ask yourself, how quickly can I proceed as per normal? Because the faster you proceed as per normal, the better your bloody consistency is going to be. So like I said, you don't have to remove failure. You are not going to remove failure. It is going to be there. You just need to redefine it. And not everything needs to be labeled as a failure. And if you do label things as failures, please remember that failure isn't proof that you can't do this. Failure or those struggles is actually the thing that is giving you strength to push forward, because there is strength in the struggle, but you cannot keep giving up when you struggle. Just imagine how different your health and fat loss expedition would be, or feel, if you stopped seeing failure as a threat and you made it become just another part of the process. You will become unstoppable. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you like I usually do. Keep smiling, keep laughing, and keep being kind to one another. Much love, your friend who is here to tell you the only failure is when you quit forever. The rest is all just minor inconveniences on this thing called health and fat loss. Mandy.